It's kind of like in that episode of the Community when Abed's like, "What's going on? Are my ears broken? Am I broken?"
I love that. When these dads meet world, watching Boy Meets World. We grew up on the show, now we have kids and host a podcast. We watch each episode and then share our thoughts and grades. When these dads meet world.
They want you to take the roles. Welcome back to another episode of Dads Meet World, your weekly step-by-step deep dive into that classic 90s show, Boy Meets World. I am one of your dads, Tyler.
And I am your other dad, Brett. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good, Brett. We're on the eve of my birthday. Woohoo! Which just means we get another day. But there's an anniversary just a few days away. Or it just happened. I can never remember if it's before or after my birthday, but I know your Kelly's anniversary is right around here.
It's a few days. It's 2 days from now, actually, as we're recording.
Okay, so it's on the 8th. I know it's.
Yes.
It's always the right before. Is it right before, right after? I can never remember.
Yep, it's right after.
I see a post on Facebook and they go, "Hey!" I know it's around
it'll
here.
Be 19 years this year.
Wow! Congratulations.
Yes, our marriage can vote, but not quite drink.
Well, if it's like a lot of other 19-year-olds, I'm sure it is.
A lot of 19-year-olds it has.
But Brett, I'm assuming you guys survived the holidays and survived the New Year's and
we have
broken your New Year's resolution already.
Oh, I don't make resolutions anymore. I just I continue living life and continue to live day to day and be grateful that God has given me another day to live on His earth and do the best I can with my time here. We did make it through. We are down one member of the family. Kelly has taken ill with some strep throat, so she is thankfully only the only one that has taken ill, and we have been able to keep the rest of the family healthy for that. But
that's good.
Nursing her back to health. Kids are back in school, already wanting snow days after being there for a whole 2 days.
Giant liners.
I know. How are things in Volkland?
They could be a lot better. The littlest one has been sick over the past few days, so he's been clung to mommy, so Sarah's gotten almost no rest whatsoever. Today was the first day that he really was starting to feel more like himself again. So we were able to put him down a little more, let him just play in his area, and he had more energy and like wanted to go, and so we were able to give him some space where he could just go, but then he'd be like, "No, I'm tired, I'm hungry, need mom." But yeah, for a little bit he forgot all about that. But we've been talking about the fact of so for Grayson, every area that he has of like that's his area where his stuff is tend to either gets moved out because grandparents visit or shared because he has to share the space with his brother. So I've been working today on getting a little area that I already deemed for him. And so I was kind of just getting that area finally prepped so he can go have a space where he can kind of get away from everybody. That's not his siblings. It's just it's his little zone to be able to, be away from his siblings. And I may even give him a lock at some point so he can be separated from them even more. So, but nice. Exciting things are happening. I made a cut in the wall about this big, like literally like this big, and I walk away and I come back and whose head pops out of that little hole but my little kitty cat. And I was like, "What are you doing in here? How did you get in here?" So yeah, we were reminiscing as well of like when we first got the cat and we still were working on getting upstairs and how he literally was in the way. I had to carry him down the stairs, like not on the stairs, but on the tread of the stairs as I'm trying to not fall. So much fun. So much fun.
Oh, yes.
We should probably get to that synopsis, Brett.
We should. Good looking people. We are at the penultimate episode of season 3. For those of you who don't like big words, that is the next to last episode. This is episode 21, The Happiest Show on Earth. Cory cannot keep his mind off Topanga and tries to woo her by following her to Walt Disney World. But Topanga becomes angry because she believes he traveled all that way for another girl, Kristen. This episode was written by Mark Blutman and Howard Busgang, a couple of names we've come to know and love around here. Directed by Jeff McCracken. Originally aired May 10th, 1996, and currently enjoys an IMDb rating of 8.5. Now, we're going to try to play America's favorite game show, Vast Emotional Damage. And I'll have to drop the theme in post.
Vast Emotional Damage.
Dun, 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 dun. Because
I think
every
it's more
week,
fun when we just do it ourselves.
every week we like to make Tyler guess just how many million people tuned in the first time this did, because it's fun to throw arbitrary numbers against the wall 30 years later. Now, Tyler, previously, our episode last week pulled in 11.4 million. That was a big drop from the week before that. How many million viewers do you think tuned in this week?
This is a Disney episode. It's a special episode, and I'm gonna guess that they marketed the fact that Cory's trying to get Topanga back. So I'm going big, Brett. I'm saying 18.
18. Well, you definitely lost the showcase, my friend. It only went up to 12.2.
How? What logic is this? What is happening right now that the world's like, we don't need to watch this show. Nothing special is happening. They go to Disney World.
This is part of this. This is part of the TGIF block where this was not the only show at Disney this week. This was a big Disney week for them because Step by Step was at Disney this week as well.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, Step by Step was at Disney this week for the second part of a two-parter, and Boy Meets World was at Disney this week. So this was a big push for advertising for them, not just for Disney, but also for the big Cory Topanga story. I do remember some of the advertising from the first run for this. I do remember seeing a lot of airtime devoted to the big Cory Topanga reunion and the fact that they were going to be at Disney. I do remember at least some of that.
This is ridiculous. I am angry.
You're angry at people not tuning in 30 years ago. Well, at least it didn't impact their ability to get renewed.
Gosh, I feel like that one child from later on, whenever they're babysitting, they're like, "What happened? What's going on?" They're trying to kill it.
They put it in the 9:30 slot. Oh, yeah. Well, Tyler, why don't you take us away on our journey through tonight's episode?
Brett, I can't take it away. I'm angry. All right, fine. I'll just suck it up and deal with it. We start off at Chubby's, Brett, where apparently Chubby is being cheap and forcing everyone to pay $3 to be there that night. Why? Who cares?
Cory can do this.
Yeah, Cory is dancing, I don't know, let's just say like he's trying to impersonate the Fonz when he was trying to be Sean. This is essentially who he's being right now. This is the most player-ish that Cory has ever been. And he is dancing with a girl named Kristen, who we have met before, but has different names. And
yes, Kristen, Hillary Tuck, this is the third and final time we'll see her in Boy Meets World. She is, as Tyler mentioned, 2 other characters. We saw her in Pairing Off last season and again in On the Air last season. But yes, last time we'll see her.
So it's either 3 sisters playing one person, or let's just say it's the same person. They just keep forgetting what her name is. So Kristen is her name right now, and Cory's putting the moves on her. Cory kisses her at the booth, and when she said, "That was nice, Cory," he says, "I know, right, Topanga?" She's like, "What? You just called me Topanga." Scene ends. Now we're in Turner's room. You called her Topanga? You got to write your name down. Cory. So, Sean is on a whole different level this episode. And really if you think I was going through this fast, good-looking people, I am, because the show goes through this fast. So Cory says, I'm going to talk to her. So he goes, "Hey, Topanga." He goes, "Oh, hi, Cory." Turner, she wants me back. Turner enters the room and says, "Hey, everybody, remember that essay assignment I had you guys do a while back?" And Sean Stanley goes, "Yep, got it right here. Submit my..." And Turner just
turn it in.
It up and throws it. So,
yes.
Apparently there is a contest that they entered for, I don't know, the environment.
Some sort of environmental essay contest.
Blah, blah, blah. Kristen is one of the winners. Good for her. We just met her. Yay. And we're introduced to a new person, Ronnie Waterman, or as Sean says, Lips Waterman.
Lips Waterman.
This feels like a rival to Sean in some way. I don't know.
It does.
The only time he's ever here. Do you want to give his IMDb real quick, Brett?
Yeah. Ronnie Lips Waterman is played by Andrew Keegan. It's the first and only time we'll see him on Boy Meets World. He has 58 acting credits on his resume. You'd see him in shows like Empty Nest, Baywatch, Full House, Step by Step.
Step by step, day by day.
Day by day.
Yeah.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch, 10 Things I Hate About You. He had a big role in Seventh Heaven, House, CSI, and more. But here he's Lips.
Where will you go when the world don't treat you right? And of course, Topanga is also the third person who is going, which you gotta be honest, Brett, of all the people that would win the contest, who is most likely going to write the best paper, give the best evidence for why she should experience whatever she's going to experience, and who cares the most about the environment? Even though she's not a hippie anymore, it's Topanga. So of course she won. So Cory is a little concerned now because she'll be going with Lips to Disneyworld apparently. Because where else are you going to study the environment, Brett, besides going to Disneyworld? Where?
Oh, of course. Yeah, not SeaWorld, Disneyworld.
Exactly. And at this time, Disneyworld or SeaWorld is an okay place to be yet. At this time.
Yes, long before Blackfish came out.
Yes. Sarah asked me, "You're not going to Blackfish this episode, are you?" And I said, "No, but I have deep dives and I'm going to go through them." But we cut Brett to the Dumbo ride. Topanga and Ronnie are on it. And Topanga's a little concerned. Her hair is going to get caught. And Ronnie says, "Don't worry, you're safe, but your lips aren't." And then we hear Cory yelling, "Ah! No lips, no!" Cory's having a nightmare. He wakes up in a panic and says, "Eric, I love Topanga." Or, "Eric, I had a bad dream." Eric goes, "You love Topanga and you want her back." He goes, "Yeah, how'd you know?" He flips his light on. It has a picture of Topanga over his bed.
It's a full-blown poster.
Okay, Brett, let's be real for a moment as dads. If we walk into our son's bedroom and there's a picture of an ex-girlfriend a nice big framed picture of their girlfriend or
This is a
ex-girlfriend.
3-foot by 2-foot poster.
Yeah. How would you deal with this?
We'd have a long talk, and that poster would be coming down because that's a severe red flag of not being able to let go of the past.
Yeah. I think this may be a time I would punt personally. I mean, we are young enough into our parenting that this is an issue that is way down the road. But I'm just imagining if I'm the one to walk in to see that, I would go get my wife and go, "Have you seen what's in our child's room?" And I feel like that's a time in which my wife would discover the purity to get Maronier and go all haywire on my son, and I think it would be justified.
Yeah, because I mean, this is granted. This is the heightened reality of Boy Meets World. This is the universe that we've been talking about for 3 seasons. But this is a 3-foot by 2-foot poster, and granted, this is a promotional image. So I mean, this from the real world, this is a promotional image, but this is a huge poster that is just right there above the bed, where it's the first thing you're going to see when you come in the room. It's the last thing you're going to see before you leave. This is not going to let Cory get over the fact that he has broken up with his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. Also, Eric just is fine with this.
Yeah. And it kind of feeds into our theory that Eric feels a bit guilty at having pushed Cory to breaking up with Topanga.
I mean,
and
this frame goes
saving
down pretty
his brother.
Yeah. I do love this that Eric just goes, go to Florida immediately, win her back. But I can't just go to Florida. That's insane. What about sunscreen? I have spoken. He also says, your poor little body goes through so much.
Eric is gold.
He is. So we go to the halls of John Adams High, Brett, and Cory tells him, hey, I'm going to Florida. I'm going to do it. And Eric says, I'm proud of you, Cor. I've got you covered here. And he's like, what? And he reaches into a bag and pulls out a giant Cory-sized dummy.
Life-size dummy.
It is beyond bonkers. Like, we have hit full-blown Eric is in a cartoon this episode levels of shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good oral report, Mr. Matthews. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get to my favorite Feeney line of this episode later, but just this whole thing is just
I did clip that interaction with Feeney, so
goodness. Awesome.
It's just perfect.
Yeah, but Cory's like, you have to be a big idiot to think that's me. And Sean walks by and says hi to Eric.
Greets the dummy. And
it's very confusing. He says, the real Cory. But I did notice that that Eric oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name? The actual actor. It felt like an actor choice. Like, yeah, Will Friedle. He grabs the arm and Sean goes to, they both smack hands, and they both at the same time. He brings up the dummy hand and he comes down and Ryder Strong smacks the hand. So this felt like a deliberate thing the actors did.
Yes.
Because Cory and Sean really don't greet each other like that.
No.
They just come and say hi to each other. So yeah, just all sorts of shenanigans is happening right this moment. Cory is a little concerned right now because, well, he's going to have to use his last bit of money to get tickets. And Sean says, oh, got those covered. And apparently they may have to break someone's kneecap because the uncle that Sean's getting this from is in the
gaming industry. If you're just listening instead of watching, those are heavy quotation marks around gaming industry.
Yes. Although Cory decides, you know what, I should go talk to her now before she leaves, because then maybe we don't have to do this whole Florida thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Cory goes to talk to her, says, "Hey, I got all these feelings." Topanga says, "I got these feelings too, but I don't know if I can trust you. You've been going out with a lot of girls." Cory says, "Well, I was going out with all these girls because I was just so lonely, and I don't want to be lonely anymore. I want to be with you, and you're the only person I want to be with." She goes, "Well, that's really sweet." And then Turner says, "Whose giant trunk is this?" And Topanga's like, "Oh, that's all my hair. Those are all my hair products."
My carry-on of hair products.
Yeah, my carry-on. The giant trunk, the Harry Potter-sized trunk that she's trying to take as a carry-on. But then Kristen walks up and says, "I've been thinking about last night, and I want to give you another chance." And then she kisses Cory, and Topanga sees it, of course.
I was so lonely without you.
I did love that. She mocks him immediately, throws his words right back in his face.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that he's a playboy, and she walks away from him.
Yep.
And Sean says, "Window or aisle?"
They're off to Florida.
And now they're off to Florida, Brett, and we get the first shot of them being in Disneyworld. And this is one of my favorite things of them looking around. And, Cory goes, "Oh, this is going to take a long time, us figuring out where they're at." And they're looking around, and all of a sudden the golf cart drives by, like they turn right back. It's going to take us days.
If only they were more
say
observant.
That we technically have gone to the place where they're going to be studying nature and dolphins because they're at the Living Sea Pavilion where they meet. I will tell you, I was listening to the other podcast, and they kept referring this to the sexiest life or dolphins trainer they've ever met in their entire lives. Played, however, by...
This is Alexandra, played by Debbie Dunning. It's the first time we'll ever see her in Boy Meets World. Only 23 credits on her resume. Always surprises me. You saw her on Who's the Boss, Married with Children, Renegade, Baywatch, Leprechaun 4, In Space, Sabrina and the Teenage Witch, but most popular for playing Heidi Kuppert on Home Improvement.
And famously, I will say, I do know this, that she, when she went into the audition, knew she was pregnant. And she said, "I'm pregnant." And they were like, "Well, we like you, so we'll deal with it."
Mm-hmm.
So, that's kind of radical for a show in the 90s to be like, "Yeah, you're a beautiful woman, you're pregnant, we'll just write it into the show."
Yep.
Because that didn't always happen before then.
No, it did not.
Nice change of pace.
Usually you wanted to hide those things, and a pregnancy could actually cost you your job in that era.
Yeah. Oh, I think it cost a lot of women their careers, honestly. And this is a weird time to bring this up, Brett, but I'm noticing as we go through the IMDb's over the past 3 seasons of so many of the men who hop on who have hundreds of credits and so many shows and different movies they've been a part of, and the amount of times that the women are in a handful of things, 30 amount of things. Like, the lifespan of an actress is much smaller than an actor. And it does make me sad, but I think things are getting better in those regards now. And, I think people are starting to have more agency in what they're being a part of. And not to mention the fact that with YouTube and everything, there are women actors now that are doing more things that maybe aren't big time studio, but they're very fulfilling.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like, there's a lot of young actors that are like a part of different like YouTube groups that do a bunch of skits and do a bunch of things that, 20 years ago would have been considered silly and ridiculous, but now we're like, hey, I get to do the thing I want to do, but I'm not just this, It's not like SNL. It's something where I get to do SNL like things, but I don't feel that pressure of, we got to get our show perfect. So,
Yep.
but yeah, we're at Disney, Brett. Cory and Sean are looking for him, and we're going to see what happens.
Yes.
Sorry, I was just looking through a line that Cory said, and I was really confused. But let's just move on. We get back to John Adams High, Brett, where we have one of my favorite quotes. Oh, excellent report, Cory Matthews. And Eric pops a little bit of Cory in the head and goes, "Thank you." For anyone listening,
and it's here. I do have. Yes, and I do have this interaction with Mr. Feeney clipped.
So come on, Eric, don't struggle. Get in there. There we go. All right.
Mr. Matthews, what are you doing?
I just put my books away.
I thought I saw you stuff your brother into your locker.
Now, why would I want to go do something like that?
I don't know. But I clearly saw a curly-haired boy enter your locker.
Why would I want a curly-haired boy in my locker?
Again, I don't know. Now get him out of there.
Oh, hey, George, can I grab a word with you a second?
Mr. Turner, I'm busy right now, but I'll be with you.
There's no Cory in here.
Do you think I'm a dummy, Mr. Matthews?
No, not you.
I'll see you in detention.
Okay, this is the point I have to ask you, Brett. What adult is with these 3 students in Disney World?
I am curious. On the one hand, I'm kind of glad that they didn't just shove Turner with them like they always do, because that's an environmental essay as much as it's a writing assignment. So it would fall under the purview of an English class. It does. I'm glad it's not just another shoehorn Turner into a story just because he's a teacher. But it does seem like it's not just John Adams. It's multiple schools. So it's conceivable that it's another teacher from the school that is with them.
Right.
I don't know.
I'll say my thought is maybe this is a situation where they just need like a chaperone. It didn't have to be a school affiliated chaperone. So it could be like a parent, like maybe it's one of Kristen's parents is the chaperone for all of them, and they're all staying like in the same basic zone, and they have to report to that one parent. Like, because Kristen is never with Topanga and Rodney. So it makes sense to me, like, if Kristen is tied down to like a parent, that like the parent wants to do all the Disney things with her. But Sarah had said something which I thought was interesting, which was, what if because they're kind of growing with a group of like other students within a general like closeness, like maybe like within the districts of everyone going, like within like the 10 schools that John Adams is a part of, like maybe like there's a couple of chaperones from different schools that are going that collectively also represent them. So that's also a possibility too. We just never see them because who cares?
It's possible.
Yes, we go back to Disney World, Brett, and Cory's starting to get a little agitated. But they're in a long line, and Sean, Cory's like, I hope that they're in this line because, we're starting to run out of places to look. Or line for this ride. And Sean goes, who said anything about a ride? And gets a churro. Cory's agitated.
Cory's getting upset.
Now, Brett, do you know who the 2 people behind Cory and Sean are?
Not off the top of my head, no.
I found out that that's actually Mark Blutman and Howard Busgang.
Hey, all right. Glad they got camera time.
Yeah. So they looked quite annoyed at them. we kind of go through a montage around all this, Brett, of them kind of running through all of Disney and trying to interact with different characters and figure out where Topanga and all of them are. But we're back at the Dolphin Sanctuary, Brett, and learning about Amber, the dolphin that won't feed because she is away from her love. Apparently, this is a dolphin who they rescued and brought there to help and help give her medical treatment so they can return her back into the wild. Blah, 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 blah. But they, Cory and Sean enter this facility. This, I would assume, is closed facility, but two boys who have nothing to do with the program just walk right in. And Cory kind of makes a jab like, well, I hope this is where she's at. And he goes, oh, yeah, why? Because we've looked everywhere else.
Everywhere else.
But Cory or Sean realizes she's there, and so does Cory. And Cory starts to say something to Sean about how he's going to go over there and tell her that since the day he saw her, he realized that he loved her, and he's always going to love her no matter what until the day he dies. And all of a sudden you hear a woman's voice say, I love you too, Cory, except it's not Topanga. It's Kristen. Kristen was on one date with Cory, now trying to think that he's there for her.
Kristen, who was on one date with him, he said another girl's name when they kissed.
Yeah.
Who she was giving him all of these, the school's talking about all of these different plays that he runs before kissing a girl. And now she's under the belief that he's come to Florida for her.
Yeah. It's not.
I think
that's
Kristen
not great.
might be a walking red flag too.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And Topanga sees all this and is all upset and stomps away. Yeah. But Cory and Sean wake up Brett, and because they clearly go to sleep on Splash Mountain, and no, is this the right place?
Yes, yeah,
Yes,
we
That's what I
wake up with them on Splash Mountain.
Yes,
It's the best night that Sean's ever had.
Yeah,
Best
Cory
sleep.
slept horribly, but Sean couldn't have slept any better. Which I don't know if that's more of a comment on Cory or Sean, but yeah, Sean just kind of says, "Hey, you gave her your best shot, and maybe she's more interested in Ronnie now, and they could be really cute together." He goes, "But I have something to give her. It's passion and history. Sean, I came here to woo her, and by gum, woo her I will.
Her I will."
Cory does not talk like a young person. There's no way else
Cory
around
does
it.
not talk like a human being sometimes. Cory is
true.
like 40 in a 15-year-old's body.
Oh my gosh. You know what he's done? He went from a straight up stand-up comedian from the 80s to now he's a Christian comedian.
Yeah.
Because he's funny, but he talks in a way that you're like, you want to throw a swear word in there, but you can't throw a swear word in there because you're not allowed to say swear words.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Tim Hawkins, Christians need swear words. But yes, apparently Cory believes that Sean tried to do reverse psychology. I just think that Sean was having a conversation with Cory, and Cory was reading into literally everything. Like,
Oh, totally.
Sean was just trying to just, hey, buddy, you gave it your best shot. I do think they would be cute with each other. Not as cute as you two, but
a cute couple. Not as cute as you and Topanga.
Yeah. But they decide they need a shower, and at that exact moment, Splash Mountain turns on, and they go right down and get themselves soaking wet, and they wonder, where's the towel?
Yeah. Now where can we get a towel?
But now we're on to probably the best montage, really, of this whole thing, Brett, where Topanga and Lips have a day apparently where they're just kind of going around through Magical Kingdom, and Cory is literally on their trail everywhere on rides. Yep. He's right behind them.
He's at the race cars.
When they think they've gotten away from him, he also is right behind them at certain points. And Cory at one point is also doing the picture for them and only coloring Topanga. He is Aladdin at one point, which my wife is very upset about.
Cory's got some mad skills as a charcoal artist, I must say.
He does. When he has Topanga, his desire is right there. My only question, Brett, is where did he get an Aladdin costume? Like, did he find the secret entrances so he can steal a costume? Or do you think he bought one and just kind of hopped in? Or did he pay a guy $20 to steal his costume? I don't know.
I think he just saw one hanging there and just grabbed it. Snuck into a locker room, because he and Sean clearly have shown that they know how to sneak in places and get to where they're not supposed to be. So I think he just snuck in and found one.
This kind of does feel like a Sean plan. Like he went, found a costume, and just handed it to him. Yeah. Now, I will say, Brad, I don't know about you, but I've learned enough about Disney over the years of people talking about stuff on TikTok that there are secret shoppers and secret security people that would probably put a stop to all the things that Cory is doing, because they would notice that there's a boy following a couple and it's making people feel uncomfortable. So, and like if people weren't at their shifts when they're supposed to be, and all of a sudden this kid keeps stepping in, it would be a problem. And I will also say that in Step by Step, they showed that there's like a whole command system at Disneyworld that they'd be able to see all that's happening at the park. So
yeah.
Oh
yeah. This is definitely the heightened world of Boy Meets World. So
yeah, exactly. This does not fit into reality. So yeah, Topanga and Ronnie on a very romantic platonic date at the Under the Sea Cafe, or whatever they call it, dining under the sea, something like that, and which is really pretty. But Topanga's not really eating her food. And it's because Ronnie thinks he's thinking about him, and she goes on a rant about how I'm not a prize and you can't win me, and I hate when people chase me, and the more people chase me, the more I hate them, which leads us perfectly into Cory scuba diving at their restaurant with a sign that says, I will chase you forever. And Sean walks up saying, hey, Topanga, I like you like this one. This one's yeah. And of course, she splashes water in his face. And again, I have to say, Brett, this is Topanga more and more showing who she is and who we will know her throughout the rest of this show. She has transformed away from the straight up hippie from the beginning of the show, and that's not a problem. She's had real growth. Now, has that growth really taken a lot of time to get from super hippie girl the first time we meet her to this confident woman that we have this episode who's trying to stand up for herself? Yes, it's taken us that long, but we're finally here where we're meeting the real Topanga, and that's okay. And she really is trying to communicate of like, I don't see how you're trying to tell me you love me and you care about me by the things you're doing. All you are doing is just upsetting me. And I think she is trying to make clear of, you think you're trying to tell me that you love me, but all these things mean nothing because it's not coming through. Which comes into play of like, what is her actual love language, and how can Cory actually show her that he loves her and cares about her? One could say it could have just been giving her space to let her explore and to see through the dating game of if she wants to actually come back to Cory or not. But, episode after episode. Sorry,
Indeed.
legendary episode at Disney World has the legendary episode of Disney World. And of course, Kristen is right behind him, and she says that you're a fast swimmer. I was right behind you.
Of course.
Okay, I have to read out to you exactly what's written in this next scene description on the website I use for going through each episode.
Right.
Scene: a shot of Epcot globe lit at night. Then to inside the Living Seas Pavilion, Dana, a character from Step by Step, in a crossover, is feeding the dolphins from a shiny metal bucket. Cory enters running and hops the fence. Dana stands. Yeah, so this is the part where we get our first ever crossover moment with a character from Step by Step, Day by Day.
Day by day.
We'll make it better second time around.
Yes, officially. And yes, she is credited as Dana, not with the last name, but yes, let's give a little bit more about her. Stacey Keenan, first and only appearance on Boy Meets World, 22 credits on her resume. My Two Dads, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, Sybil, Diagnosis Murder, Hollywood Darlings, others, most famously for Step by Step here. Interesting of note, she graduated from Southwestern Law School in 2013 and now works full-time as an attorney in LA under the name Stacy Birchwhistle.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I will say I did watch the Step by Step episode to see, like, because I've always knew she was in this episode. I was like, is there anything about how she goes and visits the dolphins? Like, just say, I'm going to go on a tour with the dolphins. Like, something.
Yeah, because here she says she just hung back on a tour.
Right. Her whole episode, like the whole 2-part episodes, is her sister trying to enter a country contest, and she is a backup vocalist for her sister. That's the whole start and finish to what she does. And I think, Brett, this is the time I want to say, I understand that there's not enough Disney in this episode. Fully agree. But so often when shows go to Disney World, they go way too over the top and being Disney World, and everything is crazy and big, and then you get these little moments of like in the Step by Step, it's the girls are doing a talent show, country talent show. Some of the boys are trying to impress girls, so they're spending way too much money, saying that they're from the Disney family, and they're wasting all of their money. Other boys are trying to break a world record, and it's just like, okay. And then the parents can't get a time alone because grandma promised to babysit the littlest one and she won't. Like, there's just all these things happening that I'm like, what does this actually have to do with going to Disney World? Like, you still have different storylines going on, but like, why aren't you focusing it more on everyone being together? You're not. You're just doing a bunch of storylines at Disney. And even if you go to Full House, because we recently watched that one, the girls are doing their own thing. The parents are doing their own thing, and these people are doing their own thing. And so there's always things happening, but it's like they never do stuff together. So I like that when they go, it's just Cory, Sean, and Topanga, and they are trying to do something together. There's a specific reason why Cory and Sean are there. There's a specific reason why Topanga's there, and Topanga's upset that Cory is interrupting the reason that she is there.
Yes.
So, Brett,
I agree.
How do you feel about this scene that we're about to watch of meeting Dana and Cory's discussion with her and about the dolphins and true love and she's just an animal, all that jazz?
I do like the fact that Dana forces Cory to sit down and finally think through everything that he's feeling. Because up to this point, he's been running like a constipated wiener dog. And he hasn't had time to stop and think things through. He's just been going completely on impulse. And I like the fact that she finally that just a stranger that he's met forces him to slow down and just think for a minute and just process everything he's feeling.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe that's the thing, is that Topanga needs to hear words, and Cory is trying to fulfill her with gestures.
Yeah, Cory, up to this point, everything is action. And Topanga is not big on the big grand gesture. Topanga is someone who, up to this point, and it's not out of character, Topanga is someone who we have seen needs words.
Yeah.
That needs someone to tell her something, needs someone to be honest with her, to be real with her.
Yeah.
And so to the big gesture, as romantic and as grand as it can be, Topanga, for Topanga to overhear this conversation means more than everything else that Cory did. Now, granted, everything that Cory did is what brings her to this moment, so it served its own purpose. But this is the moment that Topanga needs to, that this is what she needs to hear. This is what she needs to observe, not everything that came before it.
I agree completely. Well, and the thing I can't keep I just keep thinking about my favorite date that they ever go on, that we ever see them do, and that is they play basketball with the laundry, and just how adorable it is that they're talking through everything, and the two of them just want to take pressure off of each other, but they just have fun with one another. They talk things out, and I think it's those little things that really bring their relationship home. It's them actually talking with one another. And, we see it even as the show progresses, that when Cory and Topanga stop talking to each other, when they just assume things or when they don't communicate, that's when their relationship falls apart. One of the reasons that they broke up initially was because neither one of them could admit that they love each other, but they don't know how to be themselves without going deep into we're old, dating couple now. And, how do they make things fun for each other? And this weird intensity that they had. I think they balance that better out this upcoming season. But then again, they run into problems the next season, and then the next season, and then the next season. So it's almost like when this couple forgets to communicate with each other, especially Cory to Topanga, that's when they have issues, is when Cory kind of isn't willing to talk things out with her or gives her too much space, But yeah, it is a really cute moment. And one of the reasons why I don't want to go through it seem like moment by moment, line by line, is because I really do think this is one of those things you need to kind of watch on your own, experience on your own, because Cory gets emotional and gets real. And, it is adorable when he is able to feed Amber. I'll admit it. It's contrived, but I like it. And maybe the dolphin just needed to hear that someone else was sad and could relate to her sadness. So
dolphins can be very empathetic creatures, and I give the writers that. It works for the story.
Yeah,
contrived, yes, but it works for the story.
Yeah, but we go outside to the fountain at Epcot, Brett, and Topanga's trying to say, "Hey, I heard what you said." And Cory's like, "Yeah, I heard you loud and clear. You don't want to be around me anymore. You hate my guts."
I did clip part of this interaction.
But Cory,
I understand you, all right? I'm not going to chase you anymore. We'll just go back to being friends. Or whatever it is you want to be.
Cory, you got on a plane and flew across the country to see me.
I know, okay? I'm embarrassed. I didn't even get the free miles.
I mean, you're just in silly outfits. You swam with sharks.
I know. There were sharks in there?
I mean, it was like you were not going to give up no matter what.
Look, how many times do I have to tell you I'm sorry?
No. Now it's my turn to tell you I'm sorry. I mean, I never realized these things came from your heart. until now.
Wait, I'm really confused.
So am I.
So what's going on? I mean, are we friends or what?
Or what?
Or what?
That is a great interline to saying, or what if we can be more?
Mm-hmm.
And I like that Topanga is really making it obvious with her actions and her words of what her desire really is. Because one of the reasons they broke up was because neither one of them were willing to say, I don't know what I'm really saying. I'm saying words that other people said to me. I'm regurgitating things I don't believe. I want to be with you. And it's just the two of them. There's no one else there to distract them. No one else there for them to think about. It's just them in the moment. And arguably one of the most important moments and probably easily top 10, most important / memorable moments of the show.
Yep. I mean, that shot of them in front of all the fountains is, it's right there in all the highlight packages. So,
Yeah. And it truly is a magical moment. We needed Disney for this magical moment of bringing the two of them back together.
There's nowhere in Philly you can do all that.
No, but it's just so dang cute, Brett. That's what it is. It's a dang cute, and it's important for their love story to have this spectacular moment. And in the classic of Boy Meets World, in all of the episodes that take place at Disney World, there has to be a moment when someone in a relationship is able to take another step with a proposal or, get back together or some sort of romantic gesture and have a moment where they can really step forward. And so they're just continuing in those type of traditions. So, so I like how the next thing is the tag, Brett. We're in Alan and Amy's kitchen, and they're not happy, Brett.
No, they are not. They're sitting down with Cory and discussing about how you left for 2 days. Where were you going to tell us you were?
I was out shipping golf balls.
And I have to say, this does it does do Alan and Amy a little dirty that they didn't recognize that their son was missing for 2 days.
Yeah. For starters, this house and school are the only two places you're going to see for the next month.
Yeah.
And Morgan Hofstad says, a month? I got more when I
more
said.
Time when I said, I got to learn impulse control. But Morgan does tell Cory she thinks it was really sweet what he did for Topanga, and she hopes someday a boy does that for her. And then goes upstairs.
Yeah. I think what she means is, I hope someone cares enough about me to do whatever it takes to show me that they care about me. Not, indeed. I hope a boy follows me to Disney World.
Oh, yes, indeed.
So yeah, I like that Cory brings out his bribing chip, by the way, and gives them both snow globes.
Disney snow globes.
Yes. I did not look up anything about Disney snow globes. I'm sorry. I was like, that's going to take us down a rabbit hole that we're not prepared to go down.
No.
But yeah, they say go upstairs, and Cory tries to take back the snow globes, and Amy says, I'm glad everything worked out with you and Topanga. Cory says, you may have your snow globe back. And of course, this episode wouldn't be complete, Brett, if Eric didn't walk in and Alan says, we
sit.
Know you helped. Yeah, sit. We know you covered for Cory while he was in Florida. And Eric says,
without evidence.
Yeah, there's no evidence, so there's no way to tie my hands. And Feeney walks in with dummy Cory. He goes, "Oh, come on, this is the best you can do."
Because Eric apparently buried the dummy in Feeney's garden.
Yeah, I don't know. Burning it, setting it down the river would be much better, or just hiding it.
Even just
They never go in the
disassembling it.
garage. Yeah, so many options, but Brett, I think it's time that we hear from the female perspective.
I agree. Let's hear from the female perspective.
All right. We're going to turn to the part where one of the wives gets to talk about what she felt about the whole Topanga and Cory getting back together at Disney World. Unfortunately, one of the wives couldn't be with us because of medical reasons, and that's okay, and we love her. Hope she gets better soon. So, to my wife, Sarah, who is not on camera, and that's okay. How are you?
Just doing dandy.
Can you talk a little bit closer to the mic?
Dandy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What did you feel about the whole Topanga going to Florida and Cory and Sean chasing after her?
It's definitely the right amount of Boy Meets World hijinks that I need in a Boy Meets World episode.
Mm-hmm.
At least every so many episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked it because my favorite episodes in all 90s TV shows is when they go to Disney World.
Fair. Now,
I will say, as I said to you as we were watching, Cory as Aladdin is not as funny as Steve as Aladdin in Full House, because Steve is actually the voice of Aladdin. But I think they could have picked a different character for him. But
it's true. They probably should have picked a different character, but I don't know. It works.
What other curly-headed character in Disney is there, though?
Aladdin's not curly-headed, though.
I know, but I'm saying if they're going to go a different route, they should go a full curly-headed route.
It's true. I mean, I liked the joke of the whole, and I wore a fez, and you know I don't like fezzes.
Fezzes are cool.
Yes, I know. Now, as a parent of people, how would you feel if one of your little people was chased to Disney World by an ex-suitor and then started dating again?
Oh, that's a big red flag.
Okay.
It's red flag.
Yes. Understandable.
Red flag on the play.
Mm-hmm. So if you thought, hey, my child gets to go off on this once-in-a-lifetime educational experience,
they should definitely lie to me and not tell me that they were followed there, and just say they were also there as part of the group, because I would definitely say that's red flag. You should not date them.
It's fair.
You should not sit on somebody's car for hours waiting for them to come.
Very nice. Good inside joke. Can't believe you just said that.
I can.
So with that said, how did you feel about Eric and Sean in the way that they were supportive of Cory this episode?
Well, they were all in supportive. I mean, if you're going to be doing something crazy, they 100% on board, all in, supportive crazy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the dummy was effective for Eric?
Which really makes me wonder how people view Cory if the dummy was that effective.
It's very fair. I mean, Feeney and Turner both make comments about how Cory and Sean normally sleep in their class, so there's always a chance that they just
wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Put his head down and they don't move.
Yeah.
It's like it's another day.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Brett, do you have any questions for our mom on the site?
Well, let's see. I will say, I posed the question to Kelly if, as Tyler asked you as the parent from the perspective of if you were Topanga's parent. What if you were the parent from the perspective of Cory's parents and your child disappeared for 2 days and wound up, a dozen states away chasing an ex? How much trouble would that child be in?
I mean, clearly the dummy was effective for them too because they didn't notice sooner. So are they really doing that great of parenting anyway? No, I would be furious, and my child would never be allowed to leave the house again.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is that with Chet now back in the picture, it wouldn't be that unrealistic for Eric to say, "Oh, by the way, Cory said he was staying at Sean's for the next couple of nights."
Okay, but
Alan and Amy have not been the most proactive parents this season.
They have not.
This might be the worst grade I would give their parenting this year.
Yeah, it's not a great parenting that their child can. Although I will say, not the first person I've heard of to go where they're not supposed to go, and
yes, we may know of someone, and we're not going to name names, but phone calls are made from one parent to another parent asking, "Is your son at the same place my daughters are?" And the parent in question called said child and said, "Are you at a place you're not supposed to be?" And he said, "No, I definitely am not there." And then said, "Well, I won't lie to you. Yeah, I am."
So what happens in real life?
Right. So technically it can happen that people show up at places they're not supposed to be.
I just them getting the tickets, that would be the hard part. Nowadays, they wouldn't be able to get away with that.
So much of this scheme would not be able to get away with today.
No, because you would need a credit card and all this other stuff, and there would be no way that our children would be able to get away with it. But what was the question? Oh, parent furious.
Yes, furious.
But also, I feel like I would have a rule that I would like to talk to the child if they're going to be staying at somewhere else.
Fair.
Guilt shame them. He could have been Woody. Woody has the curly Q.
Well, that's true. He probably made a good Woody or a good Buzz Lightyear. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were options besides.
There were options besides Aladdin.
Now I will say, I guess we should ask this now, Sarah. What would you grade this episode?
I mean, I always give a higher grade to Disney World related episodes because they're extra magical. But I give it, it's a little ridiculous, but give it an A.
Solid.
Disney World at its best. Although I'm a little concerned with Disney World and the open availability of these dolphins that I've never seen in Epcot, and that these people can just hang back on tours.
Just walk right into a facility.
Into the dolphin facility. A little concerned about that.
Mm-hmm. So I guess this is a good point then to get to our little game I have for deep dives. Mm-hmm. So I have listed the 16. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So there's 16 episodes, but I guess 11 shows, because there's a couple multi-parters that feature Disney World or a Disney World episode. So we'll go back and forth and see which one of you can name the most episodes. So in order to make this fair, I will select a number. Okay, Brett, odds are even.
Even.
Okay, the number is 2. You can either go first or you can go last. It's your pick.
I'll defer. I'll let Sarah go first.
All right. My love,
Full House. It's a 3-parter.
it's only a 2-parter.
It's a 3-parter.
Okay, so you have Full House. You have 1. Brett?
We'll go with Step by Step. That was a 2-parter.
Step by step, day
She
by
also
day.
makes an appearance in this. Sabrina. Oh, what? First, what was it?
Just say day by day for
Day
me.
by day.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't know we were doing that. I'm sorry.
Fine.
I'm sorry. Day
by day.
Thank you.
Sabrina.
Yes, Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Family Matters.
Yep. That's a big 2-parter.
Do you have Boy Meets World on this list?
Yes.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
I don't see it on here, but there's also at least one missing that I know of for sure.
I don't know for sure. I can't remember.
I mean, I can also look it up super quick, but honey, do you have more guesses?
I'm thinking. I'm thinking.
Now, are these all Disney ABC affiliated, or are the other networks involved?
That's a good question.
These are just episodes from IMDb listed as Disneyworld episodes.
Disney World.
Okay.
Produced by Bloody Jess 134.
Oh, okay. Is this Disney World and Disneyland, or just?
I think it's just Disney World. No, Disneyland is also.
Because Modern Family.
Yes, Modern Family is one of them.
I'm going to go back and go say Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers. It's not on this list.
Of course not.
I'm not even sure what that show is.
Oh, and you call yourself a TGIF fan.
I'm a 90s baby. Leave me alone.
Well, The Big Bang Theory talks about Disneyland a lot, but I don't think they ever actually go.
I never
there. Wait, they
see them
do.
there.
But the girls
Oh.
go there, and they get dressed up as Disney princesses in the Disney boutique. That's a whole episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So is your guess?
The Big Bang Theory.
It's not on the list, but I'll double check to make sure.
They do go to Disneyland.
Well,
they go
okay.
to the Disney.
They don't
boutique.
actually film
But-
there. That's the thing.
Right. If it's just they're on like a local
Fair.
site, but not actually Disney episode. That's why I wouldn't count it.
Okay.
Okay. My turn.
Yes.
Roseanne.
Yes. Roseanne 2.
I'm going back into the ABC well.
So I will say there's four shows that neither of you have said so far. One of them is not listed because it is a little bit newer, so I don't think it was counted by the time this list was made.
Okay.
So if you'd like, I can start giving you hints.
Party of Five.
No.
That's not a sitcom.
I don't know.
Or are we going? I don't think we said specifically sitcom, did we?
It's just Disney episodes.
Just
people.
Disney episodes. Did we guess Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
Yes,
that
Sarah
was the
guessed that.
second
We
one I
did.
guessed.
Sarah did guess that one. Okay. The middle.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I think,
Yeah.
that is all of the 2-part episodes.
Do they go to
All right.
Disney World and Malcolm in the Middle?
No.
What
You
other
kidding me? That family could
ABC
barely
shows
afford
can
to
I
go to,
think-
like,
They can't afford things
Six
in the
Flags.
middle either.
No. I got one.
God.
George Lopez.
George Lopez, yes.
I just finished watching Blue Beetle last night.
All right. This round, I'm willing to give you guys hints.
Okay.
So, the hint I'll give to you, my love, is there is an episode of a show that we watched that just got canceled. The episode was early on in the last season that they aired. And it featured a new land.
We went to Star Wars Land.
Uh-huh.
What show was it? Wait, I'm seeing it. Oh, what's it called? It has Topher Grace in it.
Uh-huh.
And
I am your editor.
I know, because I can see it. I just can't think of the name of it right now. And they're siblings, and there's three siblings, and
I think I know which one you're talking about.
yeah. Topher Grace is the oldest, and he's a writer, and I'm literally explaining this show.
I do know which one you're talking about.
I can't remember the name.
Home economics.
Ah, damn it. Yeah. Yep.
Should I let that be a steal for him? Or
Yeah, I mean, I
don't
did
care how you
explain to
count
him
it.
the whole show.
here, I will give.
Can I get a half point?
I will give both of you a half point because you're both special, and this is a made-up game.
Points don't matter.
Yes. All right, Brett. I'll give you a hint of a show.
Okay.
This is a. I never really watched this show, so it's gonna be hard to give hints to it. But I think you are aware enough of this show. There's a famous, there's several famous African American people in the
Blackish.
show, and one of them may have been Morpheus.
Oh, that's Blackish, yeah.
So I struggled for a moment. I'm not giving you a half point because you
I
just
stole
spelled it
it.
out. You can't steal this one.
But I said it first.
Doesn't matter. Was it your turn? Okay, so we have all of them except for the first show to actually go to Disney World.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Do you want to give us a hint and it's a freebie? Either of us can get it.
Yeah, since the points are close enough, I will give you both a hint, and whoever says it first gets it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll start reading the summary of the episode without any names, and then whoever says it first.
Okay.
Okay.
You get one guess.
Okay.
All right. When blank gets a job at Disneyland as an Elvis impersonator, the rest of the family decides to take a trip to the Magic Kingdom. However, much of the magic is lost when blank catches blank hugging another woman.
Disney has Elvis impersonators?
Apparently.
Okay.
Well,
Family.
this is definitely older.
first. Would have been before all these other ones.
Happy Days.
Nope, not Happy Days.
That was my guess.
All right, stab in the dark. I'm going to go with Blossom.
Blossom is the answer. Brett is our winner
Oh, wow.
with a total points of 7.5. Brett is our inaugural winner of what episodes actually took place at Disney.
Good game.
I have no theme music for this.
Okay, so to wrap up our time with you, my love, we'll find out how much of this actually makes it into the episode. But from start to finish of this year, when we first see Cory and Topanga and them getting together, to now, do you feel like their love story has been earned? Or even if you want to go back from first time we meet Topanga to now.
I mean, yeah. Like, from the beginning of their relationship, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the problem is they're a giant walking red flag. But growing up, yeah, their relationship is always deserved and worked for. Like, it's not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, from the beginning with the hair and the lockers, like, yeah, so their relationship is earned. I don't know. I don't really like this season because of the whole breakup and the jealousy thing. And, like, they don't always need to be together, but it's just the way they're apart in this season. I don't really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can even handle, like, in the later seasons when they break up
Mm-hmm.
for actual reasons.
Yeah.
But this season just seems more like, well, we gotta have some conflict, so let's just break them up because it's easy and they're in high school.
Yeah, that's very fair.
I've never been a fan of this length of breakup time.
Right. But as far as like each time the times they've gotten back together, would you not say that this is probably the most magical version?
I mean,
that?
it's Disney World, so obviously it has to be,
Mm-hmm.
because Disney episodes are the best episodes.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you feel like they utilized Disney itself very well?
No, they did not. They could have utilized it a lot better. I need like Full House levels of Disney World,
Mm-hmm.
where like you're literally walking through the whole park.
Very fair.
And going on experiences and rides. I mean, they do go on Splash Mountain, but I need more.
Yeah.
More Disney World. Also, they're only in Epcot, and who gets to see these dolphins? I didn't see them when I was in Epcot.
That's very fair. Now, I will say for both of you and for our good-looking people, let me just double-check our episodes because...
Also, that restaurant that they eat at is the same restaurant that Danny and Vicky eat at in Full House. And I feel like that's an expensive restaurant, so why are two teenagers eating there?
That's a very great question. I will answer that question
'Cause
by
Lips is
not answering
loaded.
it whatsoever. So when Full House goes to Disney World, Blossom also that year goes to Disney World. When Family Matters went to Disney World, they're the only ones that went to Disney World. But in 1996, when Boy Meets World goes to Disney World, Roseanne, Step by Step, and Boy Meets World, all three of them go to Disney World. So my guess is that Boy Meets World got the short end of the stick as far as like budget to go to Disney World.
I mean, it still annoys me that they don't utilize Disney enough. Like, it's like the Sabrina episode where they go to the animal kingdom, and it's just not...
Right.
They don't utilize Disney enough. Honestly, they could not even be at the animal kingdom, and I wouldn't even know because it's so bland.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm sure Brett and I will talk more about this as we get deeper into the episode, but my headcanon understanding was that they were supposed to advertise for Epcot and what Epcot experiences you could have. So,
okay, but they are at Epcot, but Splash Mountain is at Magic Kingdom.
I understand that.
So why would they should have slept in the giant ball?
Now, I will say when Sabrina goes, it's just Sabrina. But then also when the George Lopez show goes, it's just George Lopez show. Modern Family, same thing. Middle, same thing. So it just all depends upon, I'm sure, what the mouse really wants to be advertised. But
I really think they should have done a deeper Boy Meets World step-by-step crossover in Disney World.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
Like, there should have been Boy Meets World people in Step by Step, even if it's like them actually running into each other.
Like the New Girl in Brooklyn Nine-Nine episode.
Yes, that could have been cool, but that didn't happen. But did you learn anything this episode?
No. I learned that you can apparently sleep on a ride at Disney and nobody notices.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that happen in this episode.
There's a lot of things that I feel like are in there that are great. You can walk around school with the dummy and nobody notices. No, I did not learn anything.
Well, Grayson said something to me before bed of like, you keep saying that you're going to be a 90s dad. You're going to be a 90s dad. Like, I have no idea when I said that, but gosh, if I was going to do that, then things would be very different in this house.
Right. It's probably we always quote Bandit from Bluey when it's the 80s, man. It's a wild time. It's the 90s. It's a little less of a wild time, but still pretty wild.
So, all right. You can go to bed now.
Okay.
Thank you for enduring all this.
You're welcome. And
thank you, Sarah.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
And we're back.
And giving us your thoughts. Unfortunately, Kelly couldn't be a part of this time, but my assumption is that she would just say, "What do you want me to say?"
I'm sure she would have had a little more to say than that, but yeah.
I know, but every episode she's on, the first thing says, well, what do you want me to say? Say whatever you feel like you want to say.
Yes, she would have loved to have contribute, but yes, the strep throat does keep you from being able to talk too much.
That's fair. Maybe whenever she's not feeling under the weather, she can give us some cliff notes about her thoughts about specifically if her child went to Florida without her knowledge and if a boy chased her daughter to Florida without her knowledge.
Yeah.
So I'm sure those would be fun conversations for us to throw out to her. But why don't we get to some deep dives, Brett?
Yeah, let's get to some deep dives.
People. Am I the only one who read the summer reading list?
All right. So to start us off, Brett, I did end up watching the other podcast, the podcast that will not be named on this podcast. So the biggest reason why I hopped on it, though, was because I wanted to know in general, did they actually go to Florida? Did they go to Epcot? Did they actually, fly down to Florida? Because the show, even though it's based in Philadelphia, they don't film in Philadelphia. They film in L.A. So it would be easy for them just to stay in L.A. and go to the Epcot equivalent in L.A. There has to be something. But maybe, the thing that they wanted them to promote was only in Florida, which is why they had to go there, potentially. So they went to Florida, Cory, Sean, and Topanga. And fun fact, apparently Andrew, Andrew Keegan, who plays Waterman, is actually friends with Daniel Fishel. And so the two of them were kind of just hanging out that week with all of her scenes. So it was kind of fun, but also not fun for her because she felt like she had to only be hanging out with him because, they're friends. An interesting thing about Lips Waterman is that he has become a spiritual guru over the past few years. Apparently, 2014, he and his wife started a group in Venice Beach called Full Circle. Now, depending upon who you talk to, it's either a spiritual group or cult. Call it what you will. But essentially, let's say he's the central figure and he gives out information to the followers about how to live the best life possible and how to be a good person. So, call it what you want. I know what I will call it, and I don't think it's good. But I'm going to leave it there because, one person's opinion, Brett. So I did find prices for Disneyworld at the time, but I've also, when I found this, there's this little description also from this year. So I'm going to read that real quick. So this was the year that Disney introduced the magnetic strip on the back of their tickets, replacing the digital photograph of the ticket purchased. It also marked the end of the hand machine stamper ticket, as the new tickets were read by a computer. It also marked the beginning of tickets with the same picture on many different tickets rather than the variety design. As each of the old tickets, Disney raised prices on February 25th, 1996 for all tickets except AP, PAPS, and raised those in October 96. So for adults, when anyone over the ages of 9, as described by what is a child, so any adult tickets for people that are 10 and above were $37 to $38.5 a day. Don't worry, for a child, it would from 3 to 9, it was $30/$31. So big difference taking just a child compared to taking an adult as well. There are more individual ticket prices within that, but I'm not going to go over those right now because there's way too many. Just know there's always different ticketing options for going to Disney World and other theme parks as well, similar to. Nope, I don't want that. And I don't even want that either. So, Brett, the subject of getting back together with an ex. Curious about statistics when that happens. So, there was a study done. So the question was raised of how many people get back with their ex and stay together after more than 9 months of breakup. So go back and stay together is 14.9.4%. Got back together but broke up again. 14.38, and didn't get back together is 70.6.8 or 68. So basically, for those who got back together was about 30%. Those that never got back together is 70%. And those who got back together and stayed together was half of the ones that got back together but broke up anyway. So it doesn't look like it's high statistically possible that for people to date and then get back together, really. Just based on the one the experiment that I was looking at. So let's talk about Disney, at least what we see from Disney this go around. Brett, specifically, the Coral Reef Restaurant, which is what it is now called. I'm not sure if it was called something different then. It didn't actually say what the name was for the restaurant, but it is an American seafood but also vegetarian friendly. It has a 4.0 rating. It's ranked the 302nd restaurant in Orlando. There's over 2,100 restaurants on review. There is over 3,000 reviews of this restaurant. So really, that's not horrible to have, 4 out of 5 for that sizing. It is an Epcot, so that's something to take in mind. Excellent reviews. They got over 1,000. Terrible reviews. They only have 206. So, for the most part, people are either saying that it's excellent, very good, or average. So that's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Menu items are basically a lot of seafood, and there are apparently vegan-friendly options, gluten-free options. So mostly a luncheon, dinner, and late night type of food as well. So, and prices are they show the $2 signs to $3 signs. So, I mean, for a restaurant at Disney, that's pretty reasonable. So, like a fancy sit down. All right. So, Epcot Sea Adventure, Dolphins in Depth. You can make a reservation for this facility, an in-depth 2-hour dolphin encounter limited to groups of no more than 8 guests per day. Costs about $209 per person, tax not included. Dive into their world. Meet the dolphins of Seas with Nemo and Friends Pavilion at Epcot and learn about the complex undersea behavior during this 2-hour experience. You'll talk to the experts who care and take and work with these bottlenose dolphins every day. Gain a better understanding and greet her. Greater appreciation for the wondrous creatures as you interact with our dolphins in a waist-deep water with approximately 30 minutes. View backstage area and learn about our dolphin care program. Learn about training and research sessions with the marine mammal specialists and participate in conversations with the global issue affecting ocean life. And remember, you'll get wet during this encounter. You'll most likely be splashed by our dolphins residents. Please bring a bathing suit if you wish to enter the water. You don't need to swim, or scuba certified to take part in this experience. So yeah, basically you can pay to go and do, I'm assuming, what essentially was the tour of this whole thing that they had, where you get to go into the back area and get to meet some of the dolphins. So essentially what you saw the boys, the Topanga and them doing. So you also have the option, Brett, of doing a scuba dive at Epcot. It costs $229 to $240 per person. Basically, you'll learn how to scuba dive. And you'll get to explore and swim around in the tank that is at this location. So basically, exactly what Cory did. So let's get a little dark for a moment, Brett. Okay. This comes from the Dolphins Project. And what we need to understand is, for the most part, anytime a mammal who lives in the ocean gets captured and brought into a facility, such as anything that does with SeaWorld, Marineland, Epcot, Sea Adventures, these type of creatures are social to a degree that we cannot understand and do not handle well being in captivity. They don't. So here's what I learned. The Living Sea Pavilion, renamed to Nemo's Friends, is a captive dolphin facility at Disney World Epcot in Orlando Park. It was opened in 1986. The facility first opened, a Disney spokes claimed, "We won't commercialize sea life. There are no tricks here." The sentiment obviously didn't last long. In the first 5 years, 4 of their 6 original dolphins had died. 3 of their deaths were believed to have been caused by or contributed to an aggressive tank mate named Bob. Epcot currently holds 3 remaining captive dolphins. Their names are Rainer, wild captured, Calvin, captive bred, and Malabar, captive bred as well. In 1985, dolphin dealer Jay Sweeney captured 6 dolphins off the Florida coast for Epcot. Bob, Gino, Tyke, Toby, Christy, and Katie. Rainer, Calvin, Malabar came to Epcot after being passed between a number captive facility. Rainer was captured in the wild of the Gulf of Mexico in 1988 and was sent to the U.S. Navy, then to Dolphin Connections, then to Broadfield Zoo, then to Epcot, then to SeaWorld, and then finally Epcot. Calvin and Malabar were born in captivity. Calvin was sent from Dolphin Connections to Birdfield, and then back to Dolphin Connections, to Epcot, then to SeaWorld, then to Epcot. Malabar was from Dolphin Quest Bermuda to Epcot, then to SeaWorld, then back to Epcot. These 3 are the only surviving dolphins and remain at Epcot at this day. In 1993, Epcot was controversially acquired 3 surplus Navy dolphins for breeding purposes. The dolphins Nina, Snapper, and Noriko were tipped from released by Congress. The move had not been approved by the National Marine Fishery Services and irked the agency considerably. Norika was transferred back to the Navy in 1997 and died that November. Nina then went back to the Navy in October 1998, died just a few years later in 2001. Snapper was transferred back to the Navy with Nina and is still alive. I don't want to get into what specifically happened to each of these dolphins, but essentially, at the end of the day, certain animals should not be in captivity. I do believe there are some that, for their protection, need to be in captivity and have grown up a certain way, and this is the only way they know. To take them back into the wild would be cruel. And they're, unfortunately, due to man's own ego, have made choices that has made it dangerous for a lot of these creatures to live in the wild and would not survive, not because of their own abilities as animals, but because we, man, have gotten in the way and have made it much harder on them. There are so many creatures that depend on things that we are literally ripping away from them. And, to throw a bunch of predators back into the wild after they've been in captivity and don't need to hunt, that's a death sentence. It's just no matter what you do, it's both a good thing and a bad thing that there are zoos and places like SeaWorld and whatnot. So it's just a matter of what you feel comfortable going and seeing. My family has no problem going to the zoo. As long as we go to a zoo and we feel comfortable being there, we're fine with it. Most of the animals we see there, we don't tend to feel are treated poorly. I'm sure someone could always tell me that no, this zoo is horrible. You should never go to that one. We don't go to the for-profit zoos ever. We only go to the ones that are actually trying to do something good. And like we're not going to any of the Tiger King type zoos. That's all I'm trying to say. So, Brett, what are your feelings on those things? And then I can close us out with not so sad ones.
I'm pretty much in your camp. Sadly, there are instances where it is necessary for those sorts of rescue situations. Kelly and I took a cruise last year, and we visited. I'm not sure if you call it a sanctuary or it's not quite a sanctuary, but every animal there was a rescue. Dolphins, sea lions, whatnot. Everything there was a rescue situation, and the goal was to re-release them back in the wild when they recovered, but some of them were not going to be able to just because of either the injuries they had incurred or just they had gotten too used to living in captivity that it would have been a death sentence to release them. So we do visit zoos. We don't visit the for-profit zoos. We only visit the ones that are actually doing good things for the animals and doing good things to take care of animals in the wild. So why don't you give us some good things to end on?
Well, here's a question that people may have, Brett. When should you go to Disney World? Because it feels like it's always busy when I go there. Well, here's the deal, friends. Basically, here are the times in which you should not go to Disney World. President's Week in February, don't go. Mid-March through late April, Easter break / spring break, don't go. Memorial Day weekend, don't go. Mid-June through Labor Day, basically summer, don't go.
Don't go.
Thanksgiving Day and the weekend of Thanksgiving, don't go. Christmas through New Year's Day, don't go. I will tell you, Brett, that the only times I've gone to Disney that I can fully remember were around these times of the week of Christmas, like week after Christmas, before Christmas Eve. My family went, and it was nonsense. We also went to SeaWorld around that time, too. Just bonkers craziness. So not good times to go. However, a great time to go would be January, except for New Year's, until prior to President's Day weekend. The week following Labor Day until Thanksgiving, and the week following Thanksgiving through mid-December is basically a good time to go. I will say that we went to Universal Studios in January. We went, no, it was February. We went early February before that President's Day weekday. And we had such a good time going around that time because there was almost nobody there. And even our fast passes, at times we'd be like, well, we could use the fast pass or we'll just go through the regular line so we can see what it looks like through the regular line. So that was fun, but that was before kids. So it'll be a while before we can do that type of a trip now because they just had to go down and make it so expensive for us. But yeah, anytime you're trying to go to any sort of amusement park like Universal Studios, Disney World, just got to realize you're going to have to deal with lots of people, and that's the way it is. But Brett, there is a question that we have to ask ourselves. How many hair products is too many? Like, is a trunk full too many?
Yes.
Yes, I agree. I have an article, Brett, and I'm just going to give you the number. But before I do, just throw it out there, Brett. What is the number that you think is probably like the sweet spot that people need to try to work towards?
6.
That's not bad.
Generous.
The article I'm looking at right now says 5.
Oh, good.
Yeah, basically you just need something that's like paste. Sorry, not pasties. Paste and oil. Some the modates, gel, mask, mousse. Basically, like if you only need one of the thing that you need, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you could have 5 or 6, that's probably the sweet spot. Like, stop trying to have so many hair care products is essentially what the article I'm reading said. I'm just giving you the cliff notes because I don't have time to go through all of it. But those are your deep dives, Brett.
All right. So let's talk about what we learned.
You know anything about the Odyssey? Huh? Did I say you could talk?
I didn't teach you that.
My friend Mr. Matthews will lead the discussion.
Do I have to draw you a picture?
Tyler, what did you learn from the happiest show on earth?
Oh boy. I think leading on what Sarah was talking about before of just watching out for my own child's red flags. Because it's clear that there's been a little bit of time since the last episode. I don't know how much time, but apparently there's been some time. Cory's been going out on a bunch of dates and doing a bunch of stuff. And again, this show has made it clear that Alan and Amy aren't paying attention this season. I don't know why. That's not who they've been up till this point. So I guess the biggest thing for me as a dad is just keeping track of my own children's red flags, being aware of what is a red flag for them and making sure I'm aware and being upfront with them about what's happening. What about you, Brett?
Well, I would agree with that. And then I would share some learning along with our good-looking people to stop and breathe when you're trying to communicate something important. Make sure that what you're communicating is being communicated in the best manner for whoever you're intending to communicate it with. Because sometimes you're trying to communicate how you want to communicate, and it's not how the person you're trying to communicate with is going to best receive it. You might save yourself a lot of trouble and a lot of time if you just communicate it in a better mode.
Well, I mean, how often are you trying to say something to somebody and you realize that you're just not saying it the way they need to hear it?
Exactly. So, how would you grade the happiest show on earth?
Oh, it's an A+. I understand that some people can be upset with some of the sound, some of the issues of them turning into a single cam for this episode and the bonkers silliness of it all, but it's funny. It just is. So I accept it as it is, and it is a legendary episode, so it's A+ for me.
I give it a high A. And
Sure.
it's the thing. There are two things that drag it down for me. One is the fact that Alan and Amy are such ridiculously absentee parents in it. And I know they've been kind of absentee throughout the season. But to have Cory gone for 2 entire days, multiple states away, without any indication that they knew he was gone is just a little bit too far beyond the pale for me. And the other is I can accept all of the goofiness and the zaniness in the world of Boy Meets World, that Cory can get into the tank and get into all that other stuff. But why is Topanga hanging out with lips?
I don't know. I don't have that.
That just seemed out of the blue. It just seemed weird to me. that she was hanging out with him so intently.
Yeah.
And I didn't really address it during our discussion, but it just is in the back of my head. But really, it's mostly about Alan and Amy that detracts for me. That's really the only real black eye for me.
I mean, this probably should have been a 2-part episode. There's no way else around it.
I agree. It does need a little more time to breathe. It's almost when I look back at it when I haven't seen it in a while, I'll look back at it thinking it was. It's one of those Mandela effect things where I look back expecting it to be, and I'll go back to it and I'll look there and I'll, oh yeah, it was only 1 part. But yeah, it should have been a 2-part episode where they could really dig into it. And I think what you'd mentioned before is right. It probably got the short end of the stick of the 3 shows that went and got the least amount of budget to do it.
Yeah.
It should have been full-blown season finale 2-parter.
Probably. I mean, it could have made sense if Eric was also there and Eric drove down and this is where Eric's going to start his adventure from. But I don't mind it because the next episode is so important. And so
agreed.
I would say this is the fun, happy end of the season. And if you don't want an emotional roller coaster for next episode, then just accept this as the happy-go-lucky episode that ends the season. But if you want to see the last time we see Turner for a few episodes, and you want to see the last time we'll ever see Eli Williams in the show and get an understanding of what everyone's doing for the summer, come back next time where we will do the season finale of season 3. Wow. I cannot believe we've gone through 3 seasons.
Oh, man. But before we get there, Tyler owes me a dad joke.
I do.
That was a beautiful setup, by the way.
It was. All right. I got a couple of Disney dad jokes for us. So, why is Gaston the most peaceful Disney villain?
Peaceful? I don't know why.
He won the Nobel Peace Prize. What happens to Olaf when Olaf throws a temper tantrum?
What?
He has a meltdown. What character Brett can count at the highest?
Well, it's not the 7 Dwarfs. Who is it?
Buzz Lightyear, to infinity and beyond.
And beyond.
And that, my dear good-looking people, is an episode. Your Disney-fied episode.
Good-looking people, you can find us online at all of our social profiles. dadsmeetworld across Twitter /X, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can send us an email at dadsmeetworld@gmail.com. We love to read emails.
We want a review. We want some 5 stars to review. We want them. Give it to us.
That's right. Apple Podcasts. Drop us a review. 5-star review. We'll read it on the air. We want some.
Yeah.
It's been 3 seasons. We'd love to
listen to the episode, listen to the next episode, and then I want a good, solid review. I want you to listen to the episode as it drops, review it, tell us about it, and we will literally read your review. Give it to us.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
But Brett, as always, it was wonderful to see you, and we'll see you good looking.
Likewise. We'll see you good looking.
You know, how can I learn so much every week and still be so stupid?
Dads Meet World is a production of Headfirst Studios. Headfirst Studios. Tell your story.
Watching Boy Meets World. We grew up on this show as we were kids. Now we're... I'm realizing I'm having a hard time.
I wrote it and I can't remember the words half the time.
Thoughts and praise. When it's Dads Meet World, they want you to take the roles.